So Clark has got the big silver and red wing. That's a kit from a company called Composite Art. C-A-R-S. It's a new kit this year, last year. It's an amazing airplane. Size, scale, accuracy. Stop at F-86 and stop by earlier today while the guys were out filming. Clark's is a 1 to 3.5 scale, so they're not technically the same size, but they're the same era of jet, both from Korea, from the Korean War or the Korean conflict, so they're very good together. Ken and Clark fly together in formation very often, and they'll do it with matched airplanes, with mismatched airplanes, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's extremely difficult to fly in formation with somebody. You've got to kind of anticipate what they're going to do. They anticipate what you're doing. You see how they both turn on the runway at the same time? They'll get lined up on the center line, and they'll get ready. They'll make sure everything's good to go. They've got Chris spotting for them, and they'll get the brakes on. They'll get the engines revved up, and they're going to take off here and put on a great show for us. So Clark's up and clean and ready to go. Ken's going to be clean here in a second. They're going to come around, they're going to get trimmed up, and they're going to get up at the same speed and get in basically modified propeller airplanes that had swept-back wings. They were underpowered. They were extremely crude for the time, especially the Russians for the Lend-Lease program, and the Russians duplicated it, and that's the engine that would have powered that airplane originally. They sort of stole the design and made millions of them for their own equipment. But they're coming around, they're getting all synced up together here, and you can see the Sky Blazer F-86s in the front. They both got their smoke on now. They're going to come around for a nice parade pass for us with smoke on so we can see them together, see what they look like together. As I said, it's really hard to fly together and fly that close together. Mid-airs do happen. It's rare, but it happens. You don't want it to happen. These are a significant investment. These planes together are very expensive, and they take a lot of time and skill to fly, though they certainly don't want to hurt them. That MiG, Clark started flying this year, same with the F-86 for Ken, and they've both been excellent airplanes for him. They're just their flight abilities, their sky appeal, they're just everything. They're just incredible airplanes together. It looks like they're going to come up and they're going to do what's called the split S, which is a very scale-like maneuver for these aircraft. They're going to come up, they're going to turn at the same time, they're going to dive down at the same time. They've got the smoke trail on so we can see them. They're going to come in, they're going to get together, and they're going to fall out of the pattern and then back into the pattern again, and then chase them. So what they did is they came around on a figure eight, a horizontal figure eight. So they're now turning right, and it's called what's called out of pattern. And if they weren't flying with other airplanes, they would always stay in the pattern because you want to go in the same racetrack pattern. But when they're flying with just them two and they're with just the two of them together, they can kind of do whatever they want in the sky. So they'll run opposite pattern once in a while, but they're communicating with each other. You can't hear it, but they're talking with each other. And you'll see them come around here for a big sweeping pass together. They're going to come up and do a big slow roll. These airplanes were too early for missiles. There was none of that. You had to be dogfighting combat face to face with your enemy. And so it changed the whole nature of the game, unlike modern stuff where they do have guns for protection and for some close-up stuff, but they generally use missiles from a distance away to take care of the enemy. And there were no missiles. They had a few rockets and stuff that were for ground attack, but they weren't controlled. They just sort of shot them in that general direction and hoped they hit something important. But they did have the guns, and I think the MiG had 3 guns on it, and the F-86 had 4. The MiG had 2 smaller guns and 1 big cannon, and the F-86. But back in the day, those pilots, they were sitting pretty much on top of the engine. And I think they make very, very good presentable models. They all fly together. Clark went dirty. I see his gear down. So he's getting ready to power that engine for a 7 or 8 minute flight. 2 gallons of fuel. Ken's plane carries about 1.5 gallons. And so that tells you what's all involved in flying these airplanes. And then the smoke oil is an expense as well. And so you see Clark coming in on his dirty pass. He's got his flaps down, he's got his gear down. He's checking to make sure everything looks right and feels right. He's going to come around, and Ken's going to fly around and stay out of his way to the runway. Unless there's an emergency, and then they call it if there's an emergency and they get fired. Ken's gear just went down, so he's going to come around with his gear down and get ready while Clark's coming in and getting situated all lined up on the runway. Beautiful landing right in front of the crowd. Everybody give him a big round of applause. Does his back taxi, and you've got it synced up so well that Clark will back taxi and get out of Ken's way, so that while Ken's getting ready to land, Clark's off the runway. They'll taxi in together or stop at the taxi point together, and they'll shut off their engines together. Make sure you give them a huge round of applause when they do that. They're out here to put on a great show for everybody and enjoy the day. Ken on his base turn to his final turn. He's fully configured. And you can see his navigation lights peeking out there a little bit. They are functional and they do help. Beautiful landing. Comes in, he's got the brakes on to slow down before the end of the runway. They'll turn around, they'll taxi back, and stop at Clark. There they go. They shut them off. The engine's on to the 2 gun.